Welcome to Up on Game presents Taylor Scouting. Coach Randy Taylor is bringing his 40-plus years of knowledge to you. This is Taylor Scouting. And now, here's Coach Randy Taylor.
Hey, folks, this is Coach Taylor back with Up on Game Network's Taylor Scouting Podcast. Excited to be back. We're going to talk about some quarterback guru stuff in a minute. Just remember that you can catch us on YouTube on Up on Game Network Presents Taylor Scouting, anywhere you find your podcasts at iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts. So you know how to find us, and we just want to get rolling right in here because I'm excited to have a guy that I've gotten to know over the years who I think is a guru because he's unique and he talks about things in a way that even I can understand it as an old center, you know. So let's welcome a QB guru, Coach Greg Holcomb, the founder of Next Level Quarterback Training. Greg is a leader in the whole person development, working with every level of QB. You know, I see him as kind of that holistic coach, and he works with kids from youth to professional. And so, Coach, give us your background a little bit. Tell us how you got here.
Yeah, I grew up in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and I went to high school up there. And I came actually down to Illinois to play a little junior college football to try to play at a little bigger level. And I had a great time down there. One of the best coaches that I've ever had in my life, a guy named Tom Horn, who took the job at Valpo, actually, and wanted to bring me there. But I ended up back in Wisconsin playing some D3 football and, you know, not necessarily what I had hoped for myself, but, you know, when you're 18 years old, you want to play at the highest level. And it was God's plan to put me there, and I was very grateful to be part of that. Met some great guys and some great coaches, and then I went to grad school and met some guys from Illinois. So moved down to Chicago, and really just started doing some stuff on the side on Sundays, and it turned into an actual business. There were some things going on in my personal life where we were starting a family and working downtown in corporate America. It wasn't what I loved doing. It was what I thought I should do. But what I wanted to do was coach. I didn't want to coach in a high school or teach or anything like that. So this actually became the perfect outlet for me to get my football fix and to do something that I felt like was probably more my calling than sitting in an office and managing advertising accounts. So I kind of dove into it. And, you know, I was always a little bit more cerebral and a little bit more of like a student of the game than maybe talented. So I felt like I had an opportunity to be able to explain mechanics and the quarterback position to those same type of kids, you know, and it's evolved into a great business over the last 10 years. And I'm extremely grateful that, you know, that we have a brand and a pretty reputable program here in Chicago that's that people seem to enjoy training at.
We're grateful to have you here, brother. Hey, talk about the idea that the QB is something you are, not the position you play.
Yeah, that, you know, it's funny. You mentioned you're going to be talking to Yogi Roth at the Elite 11, and I kind of adopted that whole mentality from those guys, from Trent Dilfer and Yogi and all the guys, Brian Stumpf and the guys who are, you know, with student sports in the Elite 11. And it's, you know, it's the mindset that, you know, I think you play shortstop and you play goalie and you play point guard. Those are positions you play. And I think quarterback is just different. It's part of your DNA. It's part of your fabric. It's who you are. I don't think it turns off when you're off the field. You know, I think it's that leadership, that sense of organization and attention to detail and all the things that you have to be a great quarterback. You take that into every aspect of your life, and hopefully, you know, the kids that play this position and grasp it the way that they can, they become better employees, better sons, hopefully one day a better father, you know. So I think quarterback is that's what we say. It's something you are. It's not something that you want to do or a position that you play. It's just part of you.
You've got what I call four pillars of your process or your teaching. I guess even more than coaching, your teaching and coaching. There's development and leadership and humility and forward thinking. So start with development and tell us how that pillar helps this person.
Yeah, I mean that's low hanging fruit. I think like everyone else, we're here to develop quarterbacks, but we're here to develop young men. It goes back to the position not being something that you play. So I want our kids once this game is over and they finish playing to be developed into leaders and good people in the community. Again, better sons, better fathers one day, better employees. I tell our kids, like, I want you to be running companies, not working for people that run companies, and so I think we're developing kids to not only just throw a football, but just to be better in every aspect. So, that's one of the key things for us. And I think that's one of the things that, we have to start with. Um, we preach also to, like I said, to be a leader, right? Like you've got to be a leader. I tell kids all the time, you can't be a leader on the football field and then not be that same guy in the classroom. Like I see all the time, there are kids who want to play quarterback, but they're the kid who screws around in the cafeteria at lunchtime. They're the one that's talking in the classroom or making, being a distraction. You can't be that person and also be the guy who's going to command an offense and a team on Friday nights in front of a couple thousand people in front of your school. So you have to be that leader as well. The humility part, that's something I learned long ago. I remember being, I think, a freshman in high school, and a center snapped the ball to me under center, and it was a bad snap, and I fumbled it, and I snapped at him. My coach laid into me and he told me, I don't care if that dude snaps the ball bad, you take accountability. It's your fault no matter what, no matter if it is or not. And so the humility part for me now is to teach these kids, like, it's always when it's not your fault, it's your fault. And also to, give credit even when the credit all should be yours, right? Give it to other people. Like guys in the huddle and in the locker room will die for you if you're that person. If you're the opposite of that, if you're selfish, if it's about you, I don't think they're playing for you as much. And then the forward thinking thing, we'll talk about some videos a little bit later on in the podcast, but the forward thinking thing is, I think, what sets Next Level apart from some of the other quarterback academies out there is, we're trying to teach what today's quarterback is doing. And I tell kids all this all the time, that the way you threw a football in the 80s and the way that you played the position in the 80s or 90s or whatever, it's not the same as it is today. The position has evolved. There are quarterbacks with high level athletic traits that are playing this position in the NFL that I'm not sure if they were playing it 10, 15 years ago. They were maybe being moved to receiver or DB or whatever. So we try to train what I see happening in today's world. And I'm 54 years old, but I can be stuck in my ways. And I watched some really good quarterbacks play a long, long time ago. And I just don't see the Phillip Rivers walking into the NFL today. And Phillip Rivers was a hell of a quarterback, Hall of Famer and all that good stuff. But we're not going to teach kids to, be statues in the pocket. They've got to throw off platform. They've got to do some, I'll call them non-traditional things when they're playing this position. So that's the forward thinking part of the four pillars that I think separates us from some of the other guys.
Yeah, that's great stuff, Coach. Where do you start when a youngster walks in the door?
It's the basics. But the basics aren't the same for everybody. I use a kind of an analogy. When you walk into the doctor's office, not everybody has the same ailment. Everybody's got something different. And so, we try to assess our quarterbacks to understand, like, where they are in their development process. So if we have to start with the smallest thing, like literally how you hold the football in your hands and where you position it in front of your chest, we'll do that. If I see a kid maybe take 2 or 3 throws, I can already tell where we need to start with him. So we'll start at a different spot for each kid, but it's really the basics. It's the foundation of everything because, um, you know, our kids see some of the cool things that we do on social media with our training and some of the drill work and all that. But if you don't have good fundamentals, I can't put you in high level drills because what we're trying to do is create good habits. And if you don't have good habits, we've got to break some old bad habits and create some new ones. And you and I both know that that's done through repetition. So it's just a nonstop process. And once we get them past the basics, then we'll move on to some of the other stuff. But, you got to start with just the simple fundamentals with anybody.
The quarterback position is really kind of a every part of your body is involved in this. One of the things I have learned a lot about is how important the hand strength, and I bring that up because it's kind of unique, a discussion point. Quarterbacks need to have very strong hands. Big hands are great, but strong hands, I mean, isn't that an important part? And how do kids get that?
Yeah. I was just explaining this, because I watch enough football. And so I'm watching, the Troy Aikmans of the world and the Dan Orlovskis and these guys that are play-by-play guys now. Tony Romo, their hands are massive. Like you can just see them as they're talking with their hands on TV, and they've got these giant hands. And so clearly that's an advantage to grip the football. I think it's really important when the ball is not in ideal weather conditions, right? Like if it's wet, you really aren't going to be at an advantage if you've got weak hands or small hands. So, obviously, I think, it goes to another sport, which is baseball, where you can improve your hand strength and your grip, right? And so, I don't necessarily do speed, agility, and strength training, but I don't think there's, a disadvantage certainly to improve your hand strength, which to me is going to go right into the natural arm strength, right? I mean, if you've got some strong hands, I can't imagine you'd have a weak arm. So if you're building all those things together, you're going to be a more complete quarterback. So, I am really careful to tell people that arm strength and hand strength isn't the end all be all, because you're probably going to throw more 10 to 15 yard passes in a game than you are to push the ball vertically. But if we've got to push the ball down the field 60 yards, you better have those physical traits. So you do have to have those things. I don't want to put an emphasis on those are like the most important. I think accuracy and timing, anticipation, the cerebral part of the game are probably a little bit more at the forefront for what I'm going to teach, but we can't let arm strength and hand strength get lost in it. So that's a great point.
Yeah, and that's just coming from an old center, So I how the heck do I know? It was just a unique thing that I was talking about recently with somebody who knew about this business. So,
Yeah.
Coach, for the experienced QB, what is your advice to maintain that throwing strength and that technique?
Yeah.
And I think we're going to go and do some video work here.
Yeah. So, like I said, once you get past the fundamentals and some of the basics, we like to teach a little bit more forward thinking and a little bit more like what we see. So, with the experienced guys who are coming back from college, or maybe they're high level high school players that we can move on to the next, elevated thing. We've been fortunate to have some really good quarterbacks in our program. Tyler Macon was one of the Elite 11 finalists from East St. Louis. I believe he was a 3-year starter at one of the top programs in the state, if not the country down there. And so, we've had the opportunity to work with him, and it's, just working through some progression in the pocket stuff, like movement in the pocket, and teaching them not to leave the pocket, but just to kind of slide to the left or to the right, or, kind of move around that way. JJ McCarthy is another kid that we've trained since 7th grade. There's a video of him where he's doing a backpedal drop, and that's a kind of a unique drop that we stole from watching Aaron Rodgers. We've got another video of CJ Carr. He's a Notre Dame commit for next year, and his is more rolling out to the right. And we count our steps. So he's taking 3 steps and throwing off that right leg and throwing without the ability to roll out of the pocket for a long time. So that receiver's open when he's open, and he's got to get rid of the football. And then Dontrell Jackson started out at Coastal Carolina, is now at Alabama A&M. Same thing, kind of a back pedal drop, but his is more of a little bit of a slide to the left and throwing an outbreaking route. So when we train these guys, it's trying to figure out what are their weaknesses still? What are some things that they need to work on? And I ask them that all the time. Like, tell me something in your offense that gives you trouble. What's a couple of things, that if I would ask JJ, what's a couple of things within the Michigan offense that you feel like you could do better? And if you describe something specifically, then we try to put something together that's going to address that, to make that less of a problem for him when he's playing there. So it's just, again, it's not walking into the doctor's office and treating everybody the same. It's finding out, where are their pain points, finding out what's next in their development, and then to focus on that to make that better.
If folks watching this, young quarterbacks or any quarterback or anybody wanting to learn about the position, even the coach position, if they watch some of those videos we just showed them and spent some more time listening to you or talking to you, are they going to learn from those videos, and what can they learn? They're not perfect, obviously, in what they're doing. So how do you learn from that?
That's a great question, because I get a number of direct messages through social media from kids who live in, I'll just say, a place like Boise, Idaho, right? There's no private quarterback trainers in Boise, Idaho. So they're going on social media pages to try to watch video to get an idea of how to almost like train themselves. And I get a lot of questions asked, or just compliments that are very humbling, that say, hey, I watch your videos all the time. They help me become a better quarterback. So, I mean, there's no question I post our videos on social media for the marketing aspect for us and to build our brand and, elevate our business. But it's also an educational tool for kids that either they don't have a quarterback coach, maybe they do, and they're just trying to learn more. So yeah, that's a great question. I love when we get feedback like that from kids who feel like what we post allows them to get better at the position.
Who are some of the other QBs you've trained?
Again, we're so fortunate to really have a nice footprint here. DJ Williams from Murray State is a really talented kid. Nevin Cremasoli started last year at NIU as a freshman. So he's up there and should push for the job pretty soon. Colin Blazik is at Ball State. Peter Anderson at North Dakota State. We've been fortunate to work with Jack Plummer, who's at Louisville, killing it this year, who came from Cal and Purdue. He trains with Mike Giovando in Arizona, but when he's been in the Midwest, we've been fortunate to work with him. JJ's old roommate from IMG, Jack Waukee, is at Nebraska. Ben Bryant is a name that everybody knows from this area, who went to LT and is now at Northwestern. Aiden Gray is the next guy up at Northwestern. So we've been with him since probably about 5th grade. Tommy Rittenhouse should win the job at Illinois State next year. And I mean, he's just an absolute stud. I probably could be playing at a higher level than Illinois State, but has probably found a home to really succeed. Tommy Ulatowski walked on at Kent State and is, I think, the number 2 guy there, and is getting on the field now as a walk-on. Caden Cobb at Elkhorn State started off at Ball State. And then we have just a lot of, I feel like when I look at the state championship every year, from 8A all the way down to usually like 3, we usually have, at least 4 kids in there, so we're really fortunate that the kids that we train are showing up to play in state championships and are going on to, finish college for free, playing this position and playing this sport. So, and I honestly, I'll put our middle school and our youth kids up against anybody. We've got some really high level kids in all these younger classes, even as early as like the 2030 class, which is like 6th grade, which is crazy. But, they're starting younger and they're getting so much more developed at an early age. We didn't train 3rd and 4th grade quarterbacks 5 years ago. And now I have to have a 3rd and 4th grade training slot because so many parents want their kids to be trained at that early. And I probably wouldn't have even thought of that 5 years ago. So the position is, it's more popular than ever. Kids want to at least try and attempt to play it. And so, like I said, we have a great roster of kids, and I feel extremely fortunate and blessed to have great young men who are also just as talented.
Coach, you get outside of the Chicago area or the state of Illinois?
I do. There's a bunch of places I've been a volunteer on the Elite 11 staff at some of their geographic locations. QB Universe has been awesome to me over the last few years. So we've been to Los Angeles and St. Louis, the Gunslinger Academy in Tennessee. We went down there for that. QB Impact in Dallas at AT&T Stadium. So I think one of the really cool things about this industry, and one of the negative things is there is some competitiveness with the guys that are geographic to your area, right? And it's unfortunate when it gets a little bit chippy, but overall across the country, there's just a lot of guys that have the same mindset. Like, we're here to help kids get better. And so there's a camaraderie between so many guys. So, the guys at QB Universe, for example, just an awesome group of guys. And so to be able to go and work their events and their camps and be around different quarterback coaches, I learned something from all of them every time I go, and I bring those back to my quarterback training sessions to help our kids here. So it's really neat to get outside the state and just be around other guys that you can learn from and pick up new ideas, and just the camaraderie between the group of guys. It's pretty cool.
How do folks get a hold of you at Next Level Quarterback Training, Next Level Athletics?
We have a website, nxtlevelatx.com. So there's a lot of information on there. We've got a training page. We've got Sunday group training. We have semi-private training. All that's in our Train With Us page. You basically go to the Train With Us page, you click on a button and create a profile, and then you download our Kano app. Kano is just the platform that we use for transactions and for scheduling. But the easiest way to find us is through social media too. I mean, we've got a pretty big presence with almost 40,000 followers on Instagram. We've got a really nice presence on Twitter. We don't really do Snapchat or TikTok, but Facebook, Instagram, Twitter are our 3 big ones. And then of course our website. So we're kind of in and around the Chicagoland area. I'll be training this year at the Bo Jackson Elite Sports Dome in Bensonville. There's a brand new indoor facility in Lombard called Connect 44. We're going to be doing some Sunday group trainings at Ackerman Indoor in Glen Ellen, just for kicks and playing fields. So we're trying to get to different geographic areas so that we can get kids who live in those geographic areas to make it a little bit easier to come and train with us. I used to have my old indoor facility in Carroll Stream, which was awesome. And it was just difficult to get kids from like the North Shore to come all the way there. So I'm trying to get to different places so that we can get our footprint a little bit bigger and train more kids and hopefully make an impact on some kids that we haven't in the past.
And kids from Wisconsin or Indiana can come. It's obviously a drive, but it might be worth it. Your Twitter, your X handle is what?
Same thing, nxtlevelatx. So we have that exact same @ for Instagram and Twitter, and then our website is the same thing. So we're consistent. It's an abbreviation for Next and Athletics, and then it's just the word level in between.
Okay, Next Level Athletics. All right, brother. Hey, I really appreciate you coming on with me today, and that's some good stuff, and digging into what a QB is, and how you've done so well with all this. So I really appreciate it. And we're going to wrap it up now with Up on Game Network's Taylor Scouting. Please follow us on Up On Game Network. You can subscribe to Up On Game Presents on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. Rate and review us, please. And again, follow us on any of your social network platforms. You can follow me on Twitter at rtaylorfbscout. It's actually X now, right? rtaylorfbscout. And watch full episodes of the show Taylor Scouting on the Up On Game Network YouTube channel. Just search Up On Game Network. All right, folks, it's been great having you, Greg. Appreciate you, and keep those quarterbacks pronating and going deep, right?
We will, man. Thank you so much, Randy. I can't thank you enough. You've been awesome over the years to us. Thank you.